hope you guys are having a good day, and welcome to Tapping Tuesday. I am super excited to be doing this every Tuesday for the rest of the year. So hopefully you can catch me live. If not, you can catch the replay anytime on my page. And, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you get notified when I go live so that you're able to catch me live if possible. So, it's the new year, and I know a lot of people at the beginning of the year like to do, vision boards or set intentions or set goals or set resolutions. And it's so interesting when we think about change, because logically we know that if we have a bad habit or a certain belief system around something, that change can be good. However, change can also be scary, and it can be intimidating because maybe it's something that you haven't achieved before, or maybe you have achieved it but you went back to your old habits. Whatever it is. Sorry, these little pop-ups keep coming on. Whatever it is, it can be kind of scary. And it's interesting because when you're doing tapping, one of the things that tapping helps to do is that it helps to get to the underlying layers of your stress, your anxiety, of your fears, in this case, fear of change. And one of the things that I'm personally going through and that I wanted to share with you guys is that I have to, at least for the next few months, well, probably beyond that, because if I don't change it long term, then the issues will be coming back. So I went to a naturopath and had some testing done and found out that I have some issues in my gut, H. pylori, and an overgrowth of candida and bacteria. So one of the things that I'm going through right now, and I just started last week, is going through the cleansing process of, getting rid of these bacteria in my gut so then I can heal my gut and feel better and have more energy and all that good stuff. So one of the things that I have to do is change my diet for, for health reasons and to help get rid of this bacteria in my gut. And, I found myself waking up last night with this kind of uneasy feeling in my stomach, sort of this like feeling of fear, and just thinking about having to make these changes. And I'm just such in my routine about what I eat and when I eat, and the things I like to eat, and of course trying to cut back on the sugar and the gluten and all the stuff that is better for me to be limited. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not giving anyone any nutritional advice, but for me, the fear of change and the fear of having to change my whole entire eating way over these next few months and then beyond is kind of scary. And because I like food, I like certain foods, and I'm not a big cook. So even learning like the steps, so all these little things like, oh, I have to learn how to cook this stuff. I need to learn how to pivot. I need to learn how to do this. And it can be overwhelming sometimes. So I was feeling that overwhelm and that fear of change in my gut last night. So we're going to do some tapping on that because it really helped. And once I tapped for a few minutes, I was able to get back to sleep because it was like in the middle of the night and I knew I had to do get rid of the fear. So I tapped, and then I did some cord cutting, which I'll go over in another video. And I was able to relieve that feeling in my stomach, that physical feeling that I was feeling. And sometimes people feel fears in different ways. Sometimes some people feel it in their physical body. Sometimes it's just, a stream of thought going around and round and round like a hamster wheel. And so people feel things differently, and that's okay. For me, I tend to feel things in my physical body. So I can always tell if I'm having physical sensation that something is needing to be released. And tapping, if you're new to tapping is a venting and a releasing tool. You're self-tapping on yourself. And so in this demonstration, we're going to do it about fear of change. So what I'd like you to do is just go ahead and think about something that you're having, you need to change, but you're having some resistance or you're having some fear around that. So for me, in this situation, it would be fear of changing my eating habits, and that affects everything. It affects where I can go, when I can go, what time I have to, take my supplements on an empty stomach. It affects everything. So go ahead and just tune in with whatever it is that you are feeling scared or resistance or fearful around making that change. And notice where you feel that. Do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your mind? Or do you just, and if you don't feel it anywhere, that's okay. And by tapping along today, especially if you're new, you agree to take responsibility for your own well being. And again, this is just a general demonstration. So we're going to start on the karate chop. The karate chop is the fleshy part between your pinky and your wrist. And we're going to start on the negatives, and then we're going to start bringing in some positives like I want and I choose statements. So after we tap on the negative for a couple rounds, we're going to tap on the positives like I want to let go of this fear, I want to release this resistance, and I choose instead to feel calm and relaxed. I choose to feel a little bit of healthy improvement. And if there's anything that I'm saying that doesn't resonate with you, then feel free to insert your own words. And since it was my experience last night of feeling this fear around changing my eating habits, that's what I'm going to focus on. But whatever it is that you're wanting to tap away the fear, just go ahead and say whatever that is in your mind, or you can follow along and you'll still get the positive results from tapping. So we're going to tap 3 times on the karate chop point. And real quick, before we start tapping, let's go ahead and just on a scale from 1 to 10, whatever you're feeling right now in your system, just 10 being the highest, where would you say that fear of change is? So for me, last night when it happened, it was pretty high because I was feeling it in my stomach, that kind of nervous, fearful energy. So I would say for me, at the time, I was starting at about 7. So that's where I'll start for purposes of this video. Okay, tapping on the karate chop point. Even though, and make sure your ankles are uncrossed when you do this. Even though I have this really bad fear of change and resistance because I'm so used to eating the way that I've been eating for years, I know I need to release this fear. And I know in the long run, it'll be better for my health and better for my energy, but it's still overwhelming. I deeply and completely honor and accept myself. 2 more times, even though I have this fear of change. And it's really scary because I have to learn all new ways of cooking, new ways of shopping, looking at labels, and it feels overwhelming at times. But I know this is going to be a positive change. And I deeply and completely love and accept myself. 1 more time, even though I have this fear of change and it's going to be a lot and it's going to be overwhelming, but I'm willing to tackle it. I'm willing to take it on because it's for my health and my energy and my well-being. I deeply and completely honor and accept myself. Inside of the eyebrow, this fear of change. Side of the eye, there's so much I have to do. Under the eye, and it feels overwhelming. Under the nose, and there's so much that I'll have to change. Chin point, this fear of change. Collarbone, for me, I feel it in my stomach. Under the arm, and it was so strong. Under the chest, and I started tapping on it. Wrist points, and what came up for me is that it was scary. Top of the head, I was scared of the change. Inside the eyebrow, I was scared of having to learn new ways of eating and shopping and cooking. Side of the eye, because to me, that's overwhelming. Under the eye, this fear of change. Under the nose, perhaps I've tried to change like this before and it didn't work. Chin point, or perhaps I made the change and then I went back to my old habits. Collarbone, but I'm willing to try again. under the arm. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Under the chest, because I can try something different. Wrist points, I can approach it in a different way. Top of the head, there's so many possibilities to make this change. Inside the eyebrow, and I have a lot of resources. Side of the eye, I can reach out to my friends and family who eat this way and ask for their advice. Under the eye, and I can look up YouTube videos. Under the nose, of how to cook these things that I don't know how to cook. Chin point, this fear of change. Collarbone, this fear of change. And maybe improving my life, maybe that's part of the scary part. Under the arm, because how I've been doing things is so familiar to me. Under the chest, and this change is outside of my comfort zone. Wrist points, this fear of change. Top of the head, this resistance to change. Okay, go ahead and take a deep breath. So just after having done just a couple of rounds, I think that was like 3 rounds, just go ahead and tune back in with that fear of change and see where your level is again. And wherever it is fine. Hopefully it's come down a little bit. So once it's come down a few points, if you're tapping on your own, once you come down a few levels in that intensity scale of whatever it is that you're tapping on, then you can start bringing in I want and I choose statements. So we'll do that for a couple rounds just to get an idea. Inside the eyebrow, any remaining fear. Side of the eye, any remaining resistance. Under the eye, any remaining fear or resistance of change. Under the nose, I know this will be a positive thing for me. Chin point, so I want to release this fear. Collarbone, I want to release this idea that it's going to be scary to change my eating habits like I did last night. Under the arm, any remaining fear. Under the chest, I want to let it go. Wrist points, I want to release this fear. Top of the head, I want to release any remaining overwhelm. Inside of the eyebrow, and I choose instead to know that it's good for me. Side of the eye, I choose instead to feel calm about it. Under the eye, I choose to feel resourceful. Under the nose, I choose to feel empowered. Chin point, so any remaining resistance or fear of change. Collarbone, or feeling scared of this change. Under the arm, I choose to replace it with feeling powerful. Under the chest, I choose to feel hopeful. Wrist points, I choose to not let my old habits get in the way. Top of the head, and I choose to be kind with myself. Wrist inside the eyebrow, if I falter, then I get back up again. Side of the eye, and I remember that I'm only human. Under the eye, and I release any feelings of having to be perfect about it. Under the nose, it's okay to start wherever I am. Chin point, I choose to feel empowered. Collarbone, I choose to feel hopeful. Under the arm, I choose to feel good about it. Under the chest, I choose to know that this is going to be a healthy, positive change. Wrist points, I choose to ask for support from my friends and family. Top of the head, and know that I'm not alone in wanting to or needing to make this change. Okay, so go ahead and take a deep breath. Just breathing out any remaining resistance or fear of change. And so just go ahead and Know where you are in your intensity scale. So at the end of my tapping session, which was just about the same time that we just did this tapping, I was down to about a 3. So ultimately, the goal is to get down to a 1 or 0, but depending on what the issue is, or how long it's been an issue, or how deep rooted the issue is, it may not always happen in one, sitting. You may have to do multiple tapping sessions to release that. And when you're tapping, it's sort of like peeling the layers of the onion. So on the outside, like last night, I just felt this feeling in my stomach. But once I started tapping, it wasn't really fear for me as much as being scared of it. Scared of the change, scared of the overwhelm. And so as you're tapping, sometimes these other what we call aspects come up. So if that comes up and it's a higher intensity than what you're tapping on, then you can move over to that other aspect and tap on that. And many times it works like a tabletop. So once you start breaking down one leg, then the other, like the scaredness came down and then the fear came down because it's all interrelated, right? So thank you so much for watching. And I would love for you guys to put in the comment box where you started in your intensity scale and where you ended. And of course, if you have any ideas or things you'd like to see me tap on these Tuesday videos, please mention that in the comments. And thank you again for watching. And if you're new to tapping, don't know the tapping points, you can go ahead and review my video, Where Are the Tapping Points? And I'll make sure that that is posted everywhere so that you guys have access to that. And please feel free to reach out with a DM or any messages, and have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. And thank you again for watching. Okay, bye.